I grew up in Texas, Dallas, Texas. I keep forgetting we're in Texas, so Dallas. But I grew up, you know, I went to public school except for the 1 year that I homeschooled on Barney and Friends. And I experienced bullying pretty bad while I was there. And so I ended up leaving public school. And I went into a really depressive state for a period of time. I didn't, you know, when you're 12 and you're bullied, that's your social life. Like, your social life is everything to you. And so I felt like I didn't have much to look forward to anymore except for my music. And music kind of kept me alive. So it's not that like I ever looked at the industry as this kind of weird burden on my teenage years or whatever. Like, yes, it is weird in hindsight, but I looked at it as it actually kind of saved my life at times because it gave me something to live for. And I knew that if I stayed in Texas that I wouldn't make it out alive.
The bullying was that bad?
Yeah, the bullying was that bad. But
and also, they knew that you had been on television already,
yeah.
So was that part of the reason why they were bullying you?
So when I asked them, like, why are you guys... So it all started with, like, I wrote a note. You know, you're in 6th, 7th grade, you're passing notes back and forth. And I called someone, this other girl, like, called her annoying and said she was being a bitch, right? And then that escalated to... By the end of the day, it was that like scene in the movie where you walk in the lunchroom and everyone just looks at you. Because the thing is like the girls that I wrote that about were the popular girls. And so it just like anyone who wanted to be popular took their side. And everyone just was like, I don't know. So I had a concert that weekend on a military base. And I went to like Vegas for the concert or something. And when I came back, it just had increased. And so when I asked them, like, why are you guys doing this? I wrote a note. We all write notes in school. We're in 7th grade. That's what we do. And they were just like, well, you're a whore and you're fat. And so I internalized what they were saying. And that's when my eating disorder developed. And I wasn't a whore.
I believe you.
Yeah.
It is so crazy how children have this instinct to pile onto people like that, though. Bullying is more common than not, right?
Well, and you have to understand is my generation was like the first with social media. So what I was really dealing with was the cyberbullying of everything. It wasn't, I had wished that someone had tried to fight me because I'm a fighter. And so I would have thrown down, but they were coming at me with words that scarred me emotionally for years to come and ended up, you know, scarring me for the rest of my life. And I kept saying to people who didn't understand cyberbullying, like, I wish that someone had just hit me and gotten it over with because at least I wouldn't have to live with those words that they said to me for years. And that's what was the hardest part, was the emotional trauma of all of it, and which made it hard to meet fans my age because I had just been bullied 3 years before by people my age. When I was meeting fans, I was excited to meet them, but at the same time, I knew what they were capable of. So I had this weird like battle in my head every time I'd meet someone my age of like, I'm so appreciative of you, but I'm also terrified of what you're capable of.
Wow. So you just had a wall up for any young kids that reminded you of the girls who bullied you.
Mm-hmm. Which was my fan base at that time. And so that was always in my mind. And I actually never even told anybody that, really, because I didn't think it was important. I also felt guilty for feeling that way towards my fans.
Did you discuss the bullying with anybody at the time?
Oh, yeah. I discussed it with my mom. She took it. She came to the school and tried to tell them what was happening. And they were like, if it's cyberbullying, we can't do anything about it. It didn't happen on school grounds. So no punishment really took place. And I mean, they had a suicide petition that they passed around the school and tried to get people to sign it so that I would kill my, like, it gets gnarly. And girls can be mean.
Yeah.
Middle school girls can be mean. And so I talked about it a lot. And then I decided that was really my first taste of activism work, was being an advocate for anti-bullying. And I remember I like decided to start talking about it, and I felt some purpose. And all of a sudden my career wasn't about my talent anymore.